Hi everybody, so today I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at Ubuntu Studio. Now Ubuntu Studio is a derivative of Ubuntu, which you can see on the screen now. Ubuntu has been around for a long time. It's one of the first really successful Ubuntu distros. Been a lot of noise about the latest version, which is 20.04. For those who don't know, that means it came out in 2020, April 20.04. And I had a look at that, but everybody and their uncle has reviewed it. One of the things that attracts me to Ubuntu is that they do a special version of it. So special, it has its own website. It's Ubuntu Studio, which you can get to on ubuntustudio.org. And again, it's on the latest version, 20.04, LTS, which means long-term support. So this is going to be around as a core for about 5 years. And yes, the kernel will be updated and the software will be updated, but the basic essence of the program will remain the same for 5 years, well, 3 years it says. Stand corrected. And you can go and download it, and you can install it with a basic desktop, and you can then move on and do different things, have different desktops on it once you've installed it. So they're working on the Plasma desktop, which is for the KDE version, also known as Kubuntu. And that would be Kubuntu Studio if you had that version. And again, you can do all sorts with it. You can change desktops, you can have multiple desktops, it's not a problem. So Ubuntu Studio, it's free to use, it's multimedia oriented, it comes with lots of software for audio, graphics, video, photography and publishing. You're not restricted to those programs. You can update those programs, you can change them, you can configure them, everything is just as you would expect on any version of Ubuntu. And it goes in and you can see some of the programs it lists. I won't go through those because I plan to go through them properly. You've got a complete support system, the last 3 versions for the last 3 years. That would include any interim updates as well. So you do get a certain amount of support even if you're not paying for it. How does a company like Ubuntu do this? Easy. They're owned by Canonical. And Canonical provide a lot of server software. And people who run web servers don't rely on community support. They want paid support, they want an answer, they want it in a certain time frame. And that's what they need. That's what IT professionals need. And they pay a lot of money for that support. But for the desktop version, it's free. The support is free. It's largely community supported as well. And it's also supported by donations. So you can contribute lots of different ways actually, not just with money. You can exchange information, you can do testing, you can write documentation in multiple languages, etc., etc. Even if it's just duplicating DVDs for people who can't download it off the internet due to being in locations that don't have a good internet connection. You can even buy the t-shirts. Tux is the Ubuntu Penguin that features on a lot of the merchandise. Looks like this one's got its own branded t-shirt, and of course you can never find the picture you want. But yeah, there's various software out there. And then there's a social community as well on IRC and Matrix. That's how long it's been going, that it's on IRC. But enough of that. We can download it easily. And there are different flavours. So you've got Ubuntu, which is the Genome version, Kubuntu, which is KDE Plasma, Lubuntu, I know it gets complicated, which is LXQT. I love getting my letters mixed up on these. Budgie, which is a specific version for a certain market, Mate, which is another one that's quite common, and Ubuntu Kylin, which I think is the Chinese version, and it's not working. But there is a Chinese version, Chinese language supporting version. So, like most versions of Linux, you can install it, you can dual boot it, and rather than show you it running in a VM, I'm going to show you it working on my desktop, because I've installed it. I used version 19. I was keen for version 20 to come out, and I'm using that. And I'm actually recording on the desktop. I'll go into that a bit more later. So first off, we'll have a quick walkthrough. That's not the standard desktop wallpaper. It's just prettier and a bit more illustrative of what's going on. It's a typical sort of genome menu. It's one of those that you actually have to click each category. Yes, a minor gripe of mine. So all the audio stuff is divided twice. It's divided by program name and it's divided by category. So if you want MIDI utilities, you can jump straight in and go straight to it. Really good. I like that. So you don't need to know the name of the program. So a few of these, I don't know what they do, but there's stuff for organised Ubuntu Studio controls, which are for setting up your audio, video and graphics, things like your desktop and monitor colour schema, your audio inputs, which always give me a nightmare on any system, not just this one. A monitoring system for jack. Musicians will know what jack is, and an audio level meter for jack. Basically, jack is a patch bay that allows you to connect different inputs to different parts of the operating system. So you can keep them set. You can run one configuration for one program and a different configuration from another program, and it'll remember which is which. Audacity. Everybody and their uncle's seen this. Did it quite well. It's an audio editor, waveform editor. So it's recording my microphone at the moment. I've already made some tweaks to this, but we can do amazing things by just highlighting a section of the text. We can then amplify it. I don't know what autoduck is. We can change the bass and treble, pitch, speed, tempo. We'll change the speed, hey. And if we play that bit, yeah, very amusing. So yeah, that's me doing Donald Duck. You can fade in, you can fade out, you can do distortion, echo, you can apply a filter. And I'm going to do more on this in another video. But basically, if I'm close to a microphone and I said Peter Piper picked a pickled pepper, and every time I say the letter P, you get a bass note, which may overload the audio. If you're looking at it on the strength meters, you quite often see that happen. So a fast cure for that is to roll everything up below 100 Hz or so, and it gets rid of it. You just apply it to the section in question. Lots of filters. You can make them as complex as you want. It's incredibly comprehensive. Graphic EQ, if you just want to boost the bass or treble at certain frequencies. I think this one's, yeah, that's just a multi-band one. There are others. Etc, etc, noise reduction. Normalizing, when you've finished your video, because people don't speak at the same volume all the way through, or you might have put music in and you don't really know what the volume levels are, you can just select the whole audio track and normalize it. That'll bring everything to approximately the same level. Worst case scenario, it'll improve it. It'll stop you deafening people when you're talking loud, and it'll make you audible when you're not. It's basically an expander compressor. And then there's all sorts of other stuff. Reverb, reverse. We can have fun with that. Same thing but backwards, etc, etc. It goes on, wah wah, and then there's a number of plugins that you can add in. I've added in noise gate. Noise gate is very good when there's background noise. Basically, it just cuts the microphone or audio completely below when there's the speech or music, is below a certain level. If you use it carefully, it's very effective. I sometimes have to use it. I used to have a noisy computer. That would come through on the soundtrack. I would hack it out with the noise gate. This one is less noisy because it's water cooled. But depending which microphone I'm using, it still picks up ambient noise because I live near a main road. So all these things have to be taken into account. Vocoder, you'll hear on quite a few pop records. You'll also hear it known as auto-tune. And half the kids in the hit parade, half the kids in the top 20 or top 40 use that. That's Audacity. Again, needs a whole program to look at it properly. But you can work with audio files in many formats, and you can export in many formats. Wonderful stuff. Brazeros for burning DVDs, CDs. That's a drum kit editor. Still not got that drum kit set up. There's a software synthesizer. A drum sequencer. LMMS. Love this program. It's Linux Multimedia Studio. And just to show you how quick you can make a tune in it, you can set up a bass line, hit the space bar and it'll start playing. And then I can set up a rubbishy keyboard sequence. And I can play that. Now if you have any talent, you can plug in a MIDI keyboard. You can play directly into the keyboard. I do possess one. Takes a little bit of setting up, but once you set up, you're up and away. You can be producing reasonable music in a couple of hours. You're not restricted to these horrible samples that are in the program. There are plenty of sites where you can go and download them. You can vary the frequency of it. There's panels, there's imports, you flipping name it. There is just stuff after stuff after stuff. These are all the built-in samples and effects. These are built-in plugins for sound shaping, sound fonts, synthesizers, you name it. It's just so comprehensive. That's my file system. Keep your eyes out there. But yeah, and then there's all the MIDI interface that needs to be set up so you can use keyboards or MIDI instruments with it, I should say. Samplers, sequencers, all manner of things. You can buy a keyboard for about 70 quid, or that comes with a drum pad and will do basic sequencing functions. Up to thousands of pounds, you can get an analog keyboard with MIDI triggering. You can put the whole lot together. You can set up a studio that costs tens of thousands of pounds or dollars, if you want. It's an entry-level program, LMMS. Don't think it's not fully featured, it's amazing. And it's free. All these programs are free. So you can tell I'm passionate about that one. Program for create, play and printing sheet music. Yeah, again, professional musicians. They like to have their music printed out. Sampler. Programming platform for multimedia. Not sure about that. QJack. This is a patch bay for taking different inputs and putting them into different parts of the computer. There's either MIDI, through different sampling systems such as ALSA, Pulse Audio. There's all sorts. You need to read up on that. But most programs tell you how to set it up anyway. Extractor, which is a multi-track sequencer. So if you're into your poppy music and you want to set up loops, that's a good place to do it. Very similar in first thought to LMMS, but undoubtedly that's focusing on loops and drum sequences and stuff like that. Ray session, not a clue. Looping sampler, super looper, and then another synthesizer that works through Jack. So that's the audio section. There is so much. You have to go and explore these. I'll try and just give you an overview of what's available. Graphics design, and again, they're organised by category into graphics and photography. Blender, people will cringe when I say I haven't got a clue how to use Blender. There it is, and that's as far as I've got with it. Don't plan to show up my ignorance on video. The Blender does a lot of things to do with 3D modelling, animation, rendering and post-production, it says here. An ebook viewer, very useful for checking that if you're composing ebooks that they will display correctly, especially when you're mixing media and links. I've written several ebooks, put 4 on Amazon, sold a few. Font Forge is for designing and editing fonts. GIMP, I'm not even going to click on it today. You've seen it in all my videos. It's a fantastic graphics program. It's worth every penny you don't pay for it. That's all I'll say. I'm not putting Photoshop down. I don't use a graphics program enough to warrant paying for it. If I was a graphics professional, yes I would. I'm not. Free program, thanks very much. Colour picker, Inkscape, where GNU or GIMP is a bitmap oriented program, although it's multi-layered. Inkscape is a vector only program. So if you want to make road signs 10 foot high without losing any resolution, and then put little details in the corner and not lose any resolution, you can do that sort of thing. Crete is a digital painting program. LibreOffice Draw. I've done some catalogues and brochures and stuff in that for about 3 years. It's good, not perfect, and I believe it will open some of the Microsoft programs. I don't use Microsoft Office, okay, so I don't know which program does what. I know Word and Excel and Outlook, and that's it, and Access and a few other. But I'm not familiar with all the Office stuff. I don't work in that kind of office. I work in software. There's a viewer for Sony ebook format files, which could be an absolute boon for an ebook writer. My Paint, which we showed in one of the other programs. Very basic, but you can still do wonders with it. If you need a simple program just to patch up a bitmap, get in there, do it. Scribus, I will open, purely because it's a desktop publishing program, and I have used it. I've done business cards in it, and I've done very basic brochures in it. That's not to say it's a basic program, it's just being used by an idiot. Now seriously, it's a good program. It's vector oriented, so you can make stuff massive without any difficulty. And a 3D animation program, and that's your graphics design. So let's move on. Video production, again Blender rears its head. DVD-NG for burning DVDs. Who does that anymore? Some people do because they need to keep permanent archives. I think cloud storage has gone way past that. If you have an NV sound card, that's for controlling it and graphical control of it. Kdenlive, I'm going to open it, I'm not going to do anything in it. This is version 20 also. Fantastic editor. Just about every video I've done is edited down or produced in Kdenlive. I can work quicker, faster. I can get the help I need really quickly without wading through tons of manuals. I'll give you a teeny little preview, and I'm just going to load a project I've already done. And you can whiz through all this really quickly. And again, it's a slower open than it comes on the machines. And if you have a posh jog shuttle control, you can whiz through at amazing rates or frame by frame. I'll be doing a program about video editing and how I do it. Don't claim to be an expert, but I've learned a lot of shortcuts and a lot of techniques for getting videos done. Because you get a program like this that can have 8 or 10 tracks of audio and video. And your first question is, what do I do first? Same with Audacity. How do you make your audio ready for doing videos? So I'm going to do a program on that. Don't worry about that, we'll cover it separately. OBS Studio. Well, what you're watching, this picture-in-picture thing is being done in OBS Studio. And if I bring it over to this screen, it will go berserk because it does that weird effect that you used to get on the Kenny Everett show. But normally it's just looking at the screen and doing what it does. It's an interesting program, OBS, because it does two functions. One is it's a video recorder, so you can record to your hard drive, and you can do it from multiple sources like I am now. We're screen capturing over here, and I have a webcam pointing at me above this monitor there. You can have multiple webcams, you can put them in different corners of the screen, and you can mix it all up any way you like. You can have static images, you can have video running in the background. You can really do comprehensive things with it. But also, if you're using Twitch or YouTube or a number of other sites, I don't know all the social media sites that kids use. So I could say something and it could be wrong. So I'm not going to say anything. But the list of sites it'll output to is about 50. And inevitably the guy decided to mow the grass outside, so I may have to edit this. So yeah, that's OBS. Amazing program, very comprehensive, and it'll record in all the audio and video formats that you could possibly want. Some smaller programs here, Pitv, very small video editor, lightweight. Used it on other versions of Linux. Basic, but if you just need to stick some video together for a project or homework or university or whatever, can be very useful. You would know it now. So there's a slow motion video editor, subtitle editor, a screencaster, not sure what that does, another DVD burning application, and a simple video player that gets synced from Jack Transport. So if you're making music videos, that could be incredibly important to you. And I'll just whiz through the rest because we've got the normal range of Ubuntu accessories. The education section's a bit lean. It's only got LibreOffice Math in. Games, it's got 3 in, just in case you get really bored. Internet, I've stuck a few extra browsers in. I put Brave in and Chromium. Doesn't come with them. Got Thunderbird for Thunderbird Mail, great mail program on virtually every version of Linux, or there's an equivalent program. Great if you use POP3 email or IMAP. I do. If you use multiple accounts, you can go and get them all in one place. It also works with message boards, BBS, news groups, that sort of stuff. And it's also got a BitTorrent client, which is not just for downloading illegal software. It is used for distributed downloading and distribution of software across the net. In the same way that Skype does it peer-to-peer, Torrent does it peer-to-peer. In the old dial-up days, we couldn't live without it to get our distributions and software. If you could download it from 20 or 30 sources, you had a chance of getting it in a day or two. Of course, now you can download a massive Linux distro. I think it takes me 15 minutes to download something like Ubuntu Studio. It's about 4 gigabytes. Great stuff, that is. Media playback, XLC and Parole Player, and Zajdu. Office software, yeah, you didn't come here to look at Office software. The settings, there's a few extra ones in here to do with KDE syncing, additional drivers. There's a few NVIDIA X server settings. That may be because I'm running an NVIDIA graphics card with a genuine NVIDIA driver. There's the software updates, which just looks like any other one. And then a few specific things for creating menus. The system ones, that's interesting. Simple front end to easily connect to remote file systems, or VPN for its proper usage. Comes with gparted installed. That's a bit of a treat because most versions of Linux don't. I use it a lot. I'm always moving partitions around. I've got 3 hard drives in here. That's a mechanical drive, 1 terabyte. That's a SSD. That's where the virtual machines sit. It's filling up rapidly. probably because it's got Windows on, and my Linux partitions, of which there are two. That one's Mint Linux, this one is Ubuntu Studio. Look how compact it is, because I haven't filled it up with rubbish yet. And 200 gigabytes free. If you know what you're doing with partitioning, you'll know about gparted. You can also do it from the command line. Very powerful tool. It can also be very destructive in the wrong hands. My Virtualbox, you've all seen those on my videos. I can spin up virtual machines. This is how it looks from my point of view. I added that in. File Manager, Task Manager, Studio Installer, which is great because you can offload it onto a USB drive and run it from that. Users and groups, and of course the terminal. Everybody's seen the terminal. If you can work out which keys those are, I'll give you a tenner. But yeah, you've seen that. And pretty much that covers what's going on in Ubuntu Studio. Again, I can't cover OBS. I'm going to do that in a different video when I'll record it with something completely different. It's extremely versatile. It's a stable release of Ubuntu Linux. I fell in love with this. Other versions I've used them for a week and I've ummed and ahed about them. This is fast. We've got the full GNOME desktop on. It's fast, stable, it's resilient. They haven't put a load of graphics and rubbish on that you don't need. You can do, yep, you can put animations on, stuff like that, and drag it down with themes. But if you want a lightweight workstation for doing your media stuff on, and people will say, well, why do you have Linux Mint on and Ubuntu Studio? If I've got this running, nobody is going to contact me on Facebook or email or social media. This is for Compilate Box. And apart from the guy outside mowing the lawn, nothing disturbs me when I'm on here. No nasty pop-ups appearing, no viruses, no updates. It's set to update once a week. And I can just get on with life. I'm not distracted. There's no way I'm tempted to go and look at my emails. I've got separate profiles for everything. So it's a nice clean way of working. I hope you decide to have a look at it yourself. By all means, pop it up in a virtual machine. But it is a slick, fast distro. I love it. And it's took a lot to convert me to Ubuntu, but I'm so tempted to just go to Ubuntu altogether now. It's that good. So thanks for watching.